Public Schools' first board meeting since losing out on $6.5 million for missing a deadline to file the paperwork. And at the meeting, the former head of finances firing back at the board, saying it wasn't his fault. He was gone already. 7 Action News reporter Brian Abel is live now after talking with the CFO and trying to get to the bottom of who's truly at fault here. Brian.
Yeah, that's right, because right now it's basically more or less he said game, and this all stems back from a transition of leadership over the summer before a deadline, and now that former CFO is saying, how could I be responsible when I resigned 6 weeks before that deadline?
Ultimately, it was the former CFO that should have turned in the form, and if the form had not been turned in, to notify the transitioning team.
That's Detroit Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Nikolai Vitti a few weeks ago, laying blame for a $6.5 million blunder at the feet of former CFO Marios Dimitriou for not getting paperwork to the state in time for a reimbursement. At the first board meeting since the debacle, Dimitriou taking to the mic to defend his name.
Express my frustration.
I left the school district on June 30th, 2017. I resigned 6 weeks before the deadline.
But the process of that filing
Yes.
started before your resignation.
That is correct. The process started. The necessary forms were never given to me to sign, basically. Why wouldn't I sign it? It's just one signature.
Dimitriou indeed gave his resignation May 31st, the deadline for the reimbursement August 15th. Superintendent Vitti gave this statement tonight, saying in part, it is astonishing to think that an organization would not expect the outgoing CFO to keep his documented word that he would submit the necessary paperwork to the state, or that he would not share that it was not done and needed to be submitted during the transition to the new financial leadership. Dimitriou says the incoming CFO should have known about the deadline. Board member Lamar Lemon says there are now steps in place to make sure this mess up doesn't happen again. Where does the buck stop with this?
Well, the buck ultimately stops with the board for not putting in the safeguards.
Now, I talked briefly with the CFO tonight, the current one, who referred me to the communications team and also to the superintendent's statement. And I'm also told by the board that they are in active talks with the Treasury Department to try to get that $6.5 million reimbursement even after missing that deadline. And one school board official telling me they are cautiously optimistic. Reporting live to Detroit, Brian Abel, 7 Action News.
Well, Brian, this sounds like a lot of mess, but the bottom line is, how does this affect the children and their education?
Well, that could be the good news, is that it really doesn't. This doesn't affect day-to-day operations inside the classroom, because this is a separate part of Detroit Public School System. So this money is more so of a taxpayer aspect, because it would go to pay off mill debt.
Okay, that is good news, Brian. Thank you.